Every single day, inside massive leather factories supplying Harley-Davidson gear, enough animal hide moves through the production lines to cover entire football fields before sunrise. Giant steel cutting presses slam down with so much force they can slice through thick leather like paper. Industrial sewing machines screams nonstop at speeds faster than some car engines idle. And hidden deep inside these factories is a brutal quality test so destructive that perfectly finished jackets are sometimes ripped apart on purpose just to prove they can survive the road. But the craziest part is that one tiny mistake during production can ruin thousands of dollars worth of leather in seconds. And most people wearing these jackets have absolutely no idea how violent, precise, and insanely expensive the manufacturing process really is. Because making a Harley-Davidson leather jacket is not just fashion manufacturing. It is part industrial engineering, part craftsmanship, and part survival equipment production. Some premium jackets can take hundreds of individual operations before they are approved for sale, and every stage has to be nearly flawless. Because leather is one of the few materials on Earth that refuses to hide mistakes. One bad cut, one wrong stitch, one scratch smaller than a fingernail. Entire sections get rejected instantly. And later in this video, there's a hidden factory process involving extreme heat and freezing temperatures that completely changes how these jackets survive decades on the road. Most customers never even hear about it. The process begins long before a single jacket exists. Inside gigantic warehouse sections, mountains of raw leather hides arrive stacked in enormous bundles weighing thousands of pounds. The smell alone is overwhelming. Thick natural oils, chemicals from tanning, heat from industrial machinery, and the unmistakable scent of real leather fill the air so heavily it almost feels like another material floating inside the factory itself. Workers inspect every hide under bright white lighting because leather is unpredictable. Unlike synthetic fabric, every single piece carries scars, stretch marks, insect bites, wrinkles, and imperfections from the animal's life. And this is where things get insane. Harley-style jackets demand visual perfection while still looking rugged and aggressive, meaning workers must somehow turn naturally imperfect material into something that feels almost indestructible. Huge computerized scanning systems photograph every hide in seconds. Software maps defects with shocking precision, almost like facial recognition technology for leather. Then giant automated cutting tables calculate how to extract maximum usable material while avoiding scars and weak spots. One hide can cost hundreds of dollars, so waste becomes a massive financial battle. A tiny improvement in cutting efficiency can save factories millions every year. But even with advanced automation, experienced human workers still make final decisions because leather behaves differently every time. Some hides stretch too much. Others become stiff. Some absorb dye unevenly. Machines can measure dimensions, but skilled workers understand texture with just their fingertips. Then come the cutting presses. Massive hydraulic machines thunder across factory floors with terrifying force. Thick steel dies shaped like jacket panels slam downward repeatedly, punching out sleeves, collars, shoulder pieces, cuffs, and back sections at incredible speed. The noise is deafening. Entire rows of workers operate in synchronized rhythm, while conveyor systems carry stacks of freshly cut leather deeper into the facility. And what happens next is unbelievable, because the factory now enters one of the most difficult stages in the entire process: matching the leather. At first glance, black leather looks simple. But under industrial lighting, no two hides are truly identical. Some carry warmer tones, others reflect light differently. Certain pieces stretch more under tension. Factory teams carefully group matching panels together so an entire jacket looks consistent once assembled. One mismatched sleeve can destroy the visual balance of a premium jacket instantly. This tiny detail changes everything because customers buying Harley-Davidson gear expect a specific look: heavy, sharp, aggressive, timeless. That signature appearance depends on hundreds of microscopic decisions. Nobody notices consciously, but everyone feels subconsciously. Next comes stitching, and this is where human skill becomes almost irreplaceable. Industrial sewing machines built specifically for leather operate under brutal conditions. Unlike soft fabric, leather fights back. It resists needles, shifts under pressure, and becomes dangerously difficult when multiple layers stack together near zippers and armor panels. Some sewing stations handle material nearly half an inch thick. Workers guide heavy panels through machines with incredible precision, while needles hammer thousands of stitches per minute. One mistake means visible holes remain permanently because leather cannot simply heal like fabric. Once punctured incorrectly, it's damaged forever. And hidden among these sewing lines is a secret most people never expect. Some of the best leather workers in these factories can identify machine problems purely by sound. Experienced operators hear tiny changes in vibration or needle rhythm before failures even happen. Imagine recognizing a damaged stitch hidden inside a screaming industrial floor filled with dozens of machines operating simultaneously. That level of skill takes years to develop, and factories depend on these workers more than most people realize. Then the metal arrives. Heavy-duty zippers, steel snaps, buckles, protective rivets, and thick hardware components move into assembly lines by the thousands every hour. Some jacket models contain enough metal to noticeably increase weight on the rider's shoulders. Specialized pressing machines attach hardware with enormous force because weak components could fail during high-speed riding. Every zipper must glide smoothly. Every snap must lock securely. Every rivet must survive repeated stress and vibration. But this is where factories face another hidden problem nobody talks about: temperature expansion. Leather expands and contracts naturally with heat and cold. Metal does too, but differently. Engineers designing premium motorcycle jackets must account for both materials constantly shifting under real-world riding conditions. A jacket sitting under desert heat behaves completely differently from one exposed to freezing mountain air. So before final approval, many jackets undergo brutal environmental testing. Some are heated inside industrial chambers reaching extreme temperatures. Others are blasted with freezing air for hours. The clue is simple: if stitching weakens, if leather cracks, or if metal hardware loosens, the jacket fails immediately. And this next part sounds almost insane. Certain test jackets are mechanically flexed thousands upon thousands of times using robotic arms, designed to simulate years of riding movement in just days. Sleeves bend repeatedly. Zippers are opened nonstop. Seams are stressed over and over until engineers understand exactly how the product will age. Some jackets survive beautifully. Others completely fall apart. And when failures happen, factories don't just lose materials. They lose time, labor, shipping schedules, and massive amounts of money. Meanwhile, deep inside finishing departments, workers begin transforming rough leather into the polished, legendary appearance customers recognize instantly. Huge rotating drums soften stiff hides through controlled tumbling processes that can last hours. Dyes are carefully sprayed and absorbed into surfaces to achieve rich, deep colors. Protective coatings add water resistance while preserving flexibility. Some jackets receive distress treatments that intentionally create a worn-in, road-tested appearance. Ironically, making something look naturally aged can require extremely advanced industrial techniques. But this is where things get truly expensive. Premium leather finishing produces massive amounts of waste. Tiny defects discovered late in production can destroy nearly completed jackets worth hundreds of dollars each. A scratch near a visible panel, uneven coloring, crooked stitching. One failed inspection and entire pieces are discarded or dismantled. Some factories recycle scraps into smaller goods, but huge amounts still become industrial waste every year. The price customers pay partly reflects how much material never even reaches store shelves. Now imagine the logistics. Thousands of jackets moving through dozens of departments simultaneously. Conveyor systems carrying components overhead. Workers coordinating assembly sequences with military-like timing. Packaging stations preparing shipments for dealerships around the world. And every single jacket must maintain the same iconic identity associated with Harley-Davidson culture. That consistency is incredibly difficult when dealing with a natural material as unpredictable as leather. Right in the middle of all this chaos, factories also battle one of the biggest enemies in leather manufacturing: time. Leather changes constantly depending on humidity, temperature, and storage conditions. Leave material sitting too long, and it behaves differently during stitching. Rush production too quickly, and defects increase dramatically. So factories operate within carefully controlled environments where climate systems run nonstop 24 hours a day. Even airflow matters because too much dryness can stiffen material, while excess moisture affects precision cutting. And if you're enjoying seeing how insanely complicated this process really is, hit subscribe and like. Because what happens during the final inspection phase is something most people would never believe exists inside the leather industry. Finished jackets eventually arrive under brutally bright inspection lighting, where trained quality control specialists examine every inch by hand. They check seam strength, zipper movement, surface consistency, alignment, sleeve symmetry, hardware placement, and overall shape. But hidden behind these inspections is the shocking test teased earlier. Random jackets are literally sacrificed. Some are stretched violently using industrial force machines. Others face abrasion testing, where rough surfaces grind against the leather repeatedly to simulate road wear. Certain seams are pulled until failure just to confirm safety margins remain high enough. Imagine spending hours crafting a premium jacket only to watch it intentionally destroyed moments later. But factories accept this loss because reputation matters more than any single product. And this final hidden reality changes how you see these jackets forever. Many Harley-Davidson leather jackets outlive the motorcycles they were originally purchased for. Some survive decades of riding, weather exposure, crashes, and constant use before eventually becoming collector pieces passed between generations. That durability is not accidental. It comes from an industrial system balancing brutal machinery with skilled craftsmanship at nearly every stage. Inside these factories, leather is not treated like ordinary clothing material. It behaves more like engineered armor mixed with luxury fashion. Every stitch, every panel, every zipper, and every microscopic detail exists because failure on the road is unacceptable. Thousands of hides, millions of stitches, endless inspections, giant cutting presses, roaring sewing lines, extreme heat chambers, freezing tests, robotic stress machines. Entire industrial ecosystems working non-stop, just so one rider can zip up a jacket that feels powerful the second it touches their shoulders. And maybe the craziest part of all is this. Long after trends disappear, after cheaper synthetic jackets crack and fade, and after countless miles of road abuse, real Harley-style leather often becomes even more valuable with age. Every scratch tells a story. Every crease records movement. Every faded section becomes proof of survival. Which means these factories are not just manufacturing jackets by the thousands every single day. They are mass-producing future heirlooms built to outlast almost everything around them.